Smash Up is a card game for 2 to 4 players that lets you combine different factions into decks for a fast, competitive experience. Each faction has different strategies and abilities, such as zombies who can return from the discard pile, or dinosaurs who may not have finesse, but have greater power values. But did I mention that you can combine them, so the experience of playing zombie dinosaurs is completely different than playing pirate dinosaurs, or even zombie pirates? As for me, I can't imagine you wouldn't want to try playing ninja dinosaurs, but there's many combinations to choose from. With 8 factions included in the base set, and a plethora of expansions means that no 2 games will ever be the same. This video will teach someone who has never played Smash Up before how to play the game in only about 15 minutes. Luckily, gameplay is easy to learn. The goal of Smash Up is to earn points by smashing bases. Bases are laid out on the table and each has a break point. When the total power of all the minions on a base from all players meets or exceeds this break point at the end of the active player's turn, the base scores. The player with the most individual power there gains first place points. Second gets second, and third gets third. Fourth? Well, you should have tried harder. The first player to get to 15 points wins the game. Smash Up was actually created by Paul Peterson, a former member of the Magic the Gathering design team, who now works for Pokemon USA. Paul set out to create a game that would capture the fun of a customizable card game experience in a quick format. With Smash Up having a preset of 20 cards for factions, you can combine them, then quickly sort them back out at the end of the game to try other combinations. And with over 14 expansions currently, there are many factions to try out, each one bringing a unique play style when combined with others. The combinations are staggering. Gameplay is both incredibly stylistic and complex. It's not as easy as just playing a minion because there are all sorts of effects that will take place, allowing for the playing of more cards, destroying opponents' cards, moving cards from one base to another. The bases themselves also have abilities that will impact the battle for domination. For example, the Cave of Shinies has the ability after each time a minion is destroyed here, its owner gets 1 victory point. Alright, so how do we get started smashing bases? Setup. Your Smash Up base set will come with 8 factions as well as a base deck. To begin, each player is given 2 factions. These can be chosen any way the table agrees. Pick them at random or select a combination that interests, intrigues you, or that you simply haven't played with before. Players then shuffle their 2 factions together into a single deck and draw 5 cards. The base deck is shuffled and then a number of bases equal to the number of players plus 1 is dealt onto the table. And that's it, the game is set up. Now you're ready to play. You can choose starting order however the table agrees. However, if you want to be technical and go by the rules, the first player is the person who, in order of priority, was abducted by an alien, kidnapped by a pirate, bitten by a vampire, burned by a dragon, kissed by a princess, driven insane by Cthulhu, oh, that's me, attacked by a teddy bear, or eaten by an orc. And again, if nobody meets that criteria, you'll just have to figure out who goes first on your own. During each player's turn, the following steps occur. At the start of your turn, you are allowed to play 1 minion and 1 action in any order. Your minions have abilities and they resolve when the minion is played. You do not have to play both a minion and an action, or any card at all on your turn, for that matter. It's up to you to decide based upon your hand. Resolve any effects of cards that you do play. Many cards give you additional minions and actions that you may also resolve in this part of your turn. After you are done with your minions and actions, check to see if any of the base's breakpoints have been reached. If a base has reached its breakpoint, score those bases. Then replace any bases that were scored with a new base. At the end of each player's turn, they draw 2 cards. The maximum hand size is 10 cards. If a player has more than 10 cards at the end of their turn, they need to discard down to 10. This completes the player's turn. Playing minion cards. Minion cards are your creatures, everything from dinosaurs to ninjas to zombies, or perhaps some gnomes. To play a minion, choose a base to put it on. Minions have a power value in their upper left corner. This number will contribute to the total to score towards smashing the base. When you play a minion, you resolve its ability. For example, let's say you want to play Laser Tops. On your turn, you will choose a base, put your Laser Tops there, and then resolve its effect, and destroy a minion of power 2 or less on this base. If you can't resolve the effect, you are still allowed to play the minion on the base. So if I want to play this Laser Tops on a base that doesn't currently have any minions on it, that's just fine. There's a lot of different abilities different minions will have, but they are written in a very self-explanatory manner. So when in doubt, reading the card explains the card. Playing action cards. Action cards are essentially one-shot effects. You play it, resolve it, then it goes to the discard pile. Some actions, however, may say play on a base or play on a minion. These are ongoing effects. Like enchantments in Magic the Gathering, they will stay with that base or minion, providing an ongoing effect. For example, Enshrouding Mist is an ongoing action card. It states play on a base, ongoing. On your turn, you may play an extra minion here. You will have this ability as long as the base hasn't been smashed yet, or unless one of your opponents gets a card to remove the ability. For the most part, action and minion cards can only be played during the first phase of your turn. There are, however, some cards with special abilities that can be played during other times. For example, Shinobi is a minion card that has a special ability. It reads, Special. Before a base scores, you may play this minion there. You can only use one Shinobi's ability per base. During a typical game, especially early on, you may find yourself with questions about particular card interactions. Here are some additional rules that will help clarify most of those questions. When a card disagrees with a game rule, the card wins. If two cards have conflicting rules, the one that says you can't do something beats out a card that says you can. If more than one effect is happening at the same time, the person whose turn it is decides the order that those effects resolve. You are allowed to play a card even if the ability can't happen. This includes that you may play a card that says all, even if there are not any valid targets. You must follow a card's ability if you are able to, even if it is a bad result for you. If a card says may, for example, you may destroy a minion with power 2 or less, you can choose if you want to do it or not. If a card says any number, you are allowed to choose 0 as your number. Moving a minion doesn't count as playing it and doesn't trigger abilities. Any player may look through any other player's discard pile at any time. This is especially important for factions like zombies that make heavy use of the discard pile. Scoring and winning. After a player is done with their minions and their actions, it's time to score any base whose breakpoint has been met. If more than one base is ready to score at the end of a turn, the player whose turn it is gets to decide which base to score first. Each base has points for first, second, and third. Place points are determined by the total power level of the minions on the base when you score. If there is a tie, both players receive full points and bonus abilities for the highest level they qualify for. How does that translate? If 3 people are on a base and 2 people tie for first, the 2 who tied both get the full points and the third person gets points for third place. If 4 people are on a base and 2 people tie for second place, they both get second place points, but the 4th person doesn't get bumped up to third place. This is because only the top 3 players will score, even if within those 3 there is a tie. Now usually you're going to find that the player with the most power when a base gets smashed gets the most points, but not always. For example, in the Ninja Dojo, the first place and third place players get 2 points each, while the second place player gets 3 points. At Rhodes Park Mall, power isn't used for scoring at all, but rather each player gets 1 victory point for each minion they play here. Bases will also often have abilities that resolve when they are scored. For the Ninja Dojo, when the base scores, the winner may destroy 1 minion. A player wins when they score 15 points. If 2 or more people score 15 or more points on the same turn, the person with the most points wins. If there's a tie, continue to play until someone has more points. The base set comes with everything you need to play, and you can pick it up at your local game store for an incredibly fair MSRP. However, if you love Smash Up and want more than the basic 8 factions, there are expansions available. As of the filming of this video, there's over 14 expansions, and while it varies a little bit, most of these expansion sets come with 4 new factions and include 8 new base cards. And as a convenience for new players, a rulebook, which, yeah, that's nice. Smash Up also offers limited promotional factions for various giveaways and events. For example, you get your own promotional faction just for joining the Smash Up Club. I'll link that in this video's description. As someone who's both a player and a collector at heart, I really love that feeling when I pull out a Smash Up faction that my Smash Up playing friends haven't seen before. I hope very much this video has been of some help to you. If you're looking to learn how to play other games in 15 minutes or less, I have a wide variety from Dominion to The Binding of Isaac to Pokemon TCG, so be sure to check those videos out. There's also one or two on Magic the Gathering on my channel, so make sure you hit like, subscribe, or leave a comment just to let me know what you'd like to see a video on next. Is a deck building game, often cited as a great game for Magic the Gathering players, as it scratches similar itches. Dominion is a game that asks the question, given these cards, what's the best deck I can build? What synergies and combos are present? And how do I deal with my opponent's plan? Dominion wraps the experience up into a repeatable game.